Hi, I'm Britt.
And my name is Alissa.
And this is Skeletales.
And this is the podcast where we strive to answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
That's right. We also share true tales of the strange, unusual, and paranormal.
Heck yeah, we do. What are we talking about this week, Britt?
Well, dear listeners, if you recall last week's episode, Alissa and I kind of crossed our wires a little bit. She said, let's do this theme. And I said, sure, that sounds great. And researched a completely different stories from completely different topic. And so here you get Brit-only stories. Hopefully you've not already turned off your podcast radio and that you buckle up for a fun ride.
They just skipped ahead to Alissa only. They were like, skippity skip.
And then they're like, oh, great, Brit only. Oh, no. Skip.
I'm very excited about this because, as you said, this is like my own personal podcast. The pressure was on, and now I get to just kick back and relax and have my own personal podcast host.
That's right. You've got your glass of wine. You don't have to worry about fumbling over words like I do. It's going to be smooth sailing for you.
Heck, yeah. I hope I don't fall asleep. You're going to scare the shit out of me and make sure I don't. Task assigned.
You're going to be on the edge of your seat, Alissa.
Okay.
No sleeping allowed. Okay. I am doing signs from beyond the grave. When we lose a loved one, we just really want to have those little signs from them that they're still with us, they're still watching out for us, or maybe just like stopping by to say hello.
Yeah.
And so I looked up some common signs that people have encountered that they're certain are their loved ones reaching out just to be like, hey, buddy. The most common that people see, and listeners, you very well may have your own story to add to this, which you should write and tell us. Butterflies. We had a story written in about a butterfly. Her grandmother came in the form of a butterfly, landed on her hand, landed on her watch. I don't remember the story. It was her grandma.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. White feathers, specifically. Pennies or some other coin such as dimes or nickels. It doesn't usually get into the quarters though. Smelling their scent is very common. Birds, specifically cardinals and jays. Alyssa's told a story in the past about some cardinals after her grandfather passed.
Oh, yeah.
And as we have even listened last episode, sometimes static over the phone lines can be a sign from a loved one just reaching out, being like, psh, 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 psh.
Was that what I said? I was like, wait, what were the stories?
That was a whole week ago.
Oh, God, that was like a whole week ago that we recorded that episode. So expect me to remember.
I think I'm going to start this episode off actually sharing a personal story. And it's very sentimental to me and close to my heart. So no judgments from anybody out there.
Are you going to make me cry? I'd rather go to sleep. No, okay, don't make me cry.
No, I don't think I will. I don't think I will. I lost my father about 4 years ago. And fast forward to about 2 years ago, I had made an appointment with an energy healer. I was thinking like just some Reiki work. I'd never done energy healing or Reiki. I don't know. A couple of weeks before that appointment, I had gone on a trip, and on that trip, I found a penny on the airplane. I found a penny at the restaurant. I found a penny on the sidewalk. I was finding them everywhere. And I didn't actually even really think much of it because it was like, it was a city I was visiting, and it's very common to find coins in restaurants and airplanes and stuff. Somebody had commented, Britt, you're finding a lot of pennies. I am. Interesting. So then I go to this energy healer, and it was a marvelous experience. And I come to discover that she is also a medium. And we start talking about my dad. And she said, money was really important to your dad. And I said, yes, that is true. And she said, just be aware that he may start reaching out in the form of money of some kind. And I was like, oh, like pennies? And she was like, sure, it could be pennies. I was like, I think maybe he already is. I don't know. But then, I was writing it off, still writing it off. So that exact afternoon, after leaving her, and she did do some Reiki work, energy work, whatever. I come home and I go to the kitchen, get a glass of water, and see some food in the sink, turn on the garbage disposal. Oh, crap, there's a fork or whatever. I reach in the garbage disposal, I find a penny. And I was like, what are the fucking chances? That's really, really wild. And she had made a point to say, hey, when you're thinking about your dad, just talk to him. Just talk to him as if you were there. So I ended up going upstairs and there was a picture of my dad and I talked to him for a little bit and I was feeling better. And I'm very drained actually from the whole emotional experience of the day. And so I go and I am sitting on the edge of the bed about to take a nap. And I look down on the floor next to my bed is another penny. And at this point, I'm just baffled. We don't just have a lot of pennies laying around. I don't know that I ever even keep a penny, honestly, at this point, because that's kind of useless currency. And I'm pretty mind blown. In the rest of the span of that one single day, I found 4 pennies in one single day. And then after that, I regularly find pennies. Now, I realize not all of these are probably my dad being like, hi, but there are certain times when I will find several pennies in a row, 4 or 5 in a day. And it is almost without fail a day that I am struggling or have a new life experience happening, like starting a new job or big changes happening. And I just can't help but feel like it might be just a sign from my dad just reaching out to me.
I love that. If you want to know for sure, you should tell your dad to start leaving $100 bills around. Now, if that becomes a thing, whew, that'd be sick. Dad.
Genuine proof.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I just found it walking out to my car, $100 bill.
I mean, that would be really rad if that started to happen. So that, I wouldn't say no.
I'm not opposed to putting that up.
It's such a beautiful story. I love that. The fact that you found the penny inside the garbage disposal.
Yes.
Very unusual place for a penny. So I've also experienced having a penny in my garbage disposal, though.
What?
It broke the garbage disposal. It was a big thing. And I don't know how the penny got in the garbage disposal.
And maybe it was your loved one.
I was like a rental.
Really
so
fuck
someone
up your day.
else left it as a sign and I had to pay the bill. Get your
Jesus.
penny. Who died?
Oh, that's heartwarming.
Britt, no, that's beautiful though. I'd never heard of pennies before this podcast as being a sign from beyond the grave. I'd never known that. And for my family, it's deer with my dad, which I live in deer country. So that's $100 bills. Can we just make that a thing?
The big signs.
That would be weird to see in the woods. Some
of these are genuine. And also other ones, it might just be what you want to see. And you know what? That's okay too. If it's something that's bringing me comfort or somebody else comfort, there's no poo-pooing on it. Take it where you can get it.
I agree, because also there's some things where, it seems like a reach, but then there's some things that's no, this is freaking too many times, too many pennies in a day. This does not happen normally. And I'm not reaching here. It's happening.
Yes.
When you just said the thing about the you'll see a sign or something. So the freaking crows coming to visit me today is actually, you're talking about the story. It's Dead Dad Week for me. Earth Day is the day.
Oh shit, I forgot. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Then I was thinking, I'm like, oh, the crows. Like, I tried to connect that shit so quick, but I'm like, no, it's not that. It happened a few days after.
Also, like fucking the dead robin on that last year.
Oh, maybe it is a bird thing. Because there's too many fucking deers. I have to have weird ass bird encounters. Is that our thing now? I'll take it, I guess. Like, if it continues to happen,
crows are
sure.
dope. Crows are dope.
Robin, not dope, but you're right.
No, that Robin was an asshole. My friend Molly had an aunt who was a huge gambler in Colorado. She'd go up to, it was called Black Hawk. She'd go gamble all the time. She passed away, and dimes, they were finding dimes everywhere. Yeah. And she knows, like, that was her aunt just being like, hey y'all, living it up, dime for all of you.
That's really sweet. The only thing I find on the regular is like dog shit. I tend to step in a lot of dog shit. It's not the same.
What loved one has it out for
maybe
you?
Maybe it was Buster Brown. I'll think about you every time I step in a pile of dog shit. Dog Buster.
Oh, good old Busty. I'm just going to share a few experiences of other people who have, had some signs from their loved ones.
This is like chicken soup for the soul.
It is. So just cozy up with your little blankie there and your glass of wine and settle in. This one comes from Julie. My father passed away when I was 9. I was always looking for a sign, but never really anything happened until last year, 40 years after he died. I was walking my dog early in the morning, and I couldn't figure out why this bird was squawking at me. Couldn't see it at first, and then I saw that it was a cardinal high up in a tree. I realized when I got home that it was the anniversary of his death. Gotta love those cardinals.
Cardinals, and I really love an aligning date.
Yes.
It makes that little bow of perfection.
My grandpa Wayne comes to visit my grandma in Oklahoma in the form of a cardinal. She never, ever had cardinals in her yard or anywhere until the minute he passed away. And then this one cardinal would show up. And actually several will show up throughout the time. But I always thought that was interesting. And he just comes in, checks in on her.
I like that. I like the idea of kind of being like a musician or like a magician with your energy after death. Like sometimes you're going to be like, I'm going to try to make this phone call, like push my energy towards a phone call. Or like, okay, go, flock of birds, go. Like a rainbow.
You're not strong enough to take a whole bird, just do a feather. A feather.
Okay, just give me a feather. What feather? A penny.
Falling down.
Every time you talk about Wayne, though, I need resolution to your missing, your mystery, your family mystery.
I know. If you've not listened, actually, I think that's a Patreon only episode where we did a 23andMe mystery episode that you can go listen to over on Patreon. And try and find my long lost uncle and aunt that I have no idea where they are. Yes. Okay, I digress. This story comes from Lynn. My girlfriend lost her husband of 45 years this summer. They were very close. On the anniversary of their wedding, she asked him for a sign, pleaded for a sign, and she said, please, for our anniversary, just bring me some yellow roses. Later that day, she had lunch with a new lady friend of hers, and I shit you not, the new friend brought her a yellow rose, not knowing anything about the wish that my friend had wanted. What are the chances of that happening? Believe they hear us. Believe.
Oh, I believe.
I believe.
As a skeptic, it's hard not to try to rationalize it, right? Like, why are we so programmed to rationalize it instead of just
let it happen?
It doesn't. hurt to believe,
I agree.
Aww.
All right. This is a little cap nod to our grandmas out there. This story comes from Anonymous. This happened a few years ago, a couple of days before Christmas. It was the weekend, and my mother and I were doing our usual weekend thing, ordering food, watching crappy holiday TV movies. We had just ordered the food, and not too long after that, we heard a knock on the door. We both looked at each other, knowing that there was no way that the delivery was there already. It was too quick. My mother answered the door, and there was a woman standing there who'd we'd never seen before. She asked if someone in particular was there, and my mom said no and shut the door. I couldn't hear what the woman said because of the TV, but my mom said that the woman had asked for Gloria. Well, you've come this far, so you're probably wondering how this is a paranormal story. Well, I'll tell you. My grandmother's name was Gloria. She never lived at our house, and we'd been the only people living in this house for decades. It's not like we just moved in and someone was looking for a recent occupant. Now for the weird part. My grandmother had been dead for about 15 years at this point. I pick up my phone to text my cousin about it, and it suddenly dawned on me that my grandmother had passed away around Christmas time. My cousin then reminded me that she had actually died on that day. The same day, this random woman came to my house and asked for Gloria. I like to think that it was my grandmother stopping by to say hello. I miss you, Mimi. Drop by anytime.
Wow. The date. This is all I need. I just love that shit.
It all aligns. It all aligns.
Only 365 days in a year that could have happened. And it happened on the same day. Grandma died. Wild.
All right. I've got one more little sweetie for you. This one comes from Danny. Whilst as a nurse, we had the cutest little girl with multiple health issues on the ward. One night shift, this cutie pie was as restless as could be and just wouldn't settle. She repeatedly said all the children that I brought in to work with me kept keeping her awake. As a colleague and I were doing her peg feed, not sure what that is, but I think maybe an IV, and antibiotics, she was laughing and giggling at something that was behind us. When Donna, my coworker, casually asked, "What are the names of the children who you see?" Without missing a beat, she said, "Sarah, Vincent, and Benzion." I suddenly lost my breath. Those three names were the names of my three stillborn babies. Now, this little girl was Maori, a native of New Zealand, and there's no way that she should have known those names or even how to pronounce them as she did. But yes, those three babies that I lost to stillborns had those names.
Dude,
They're with her at work.
Goosebumps. So were they like kids? They're not like obviously little tiny babies just rolling around on the floor. They'd like grown up in the afterlife, kind of.
It sounds like it, that she was saying, all these kids you brought with you are keeping me awake.
Oh my God. Well,
it makes me wonder, does this girl just constantly have these spirits of young little babies around her? Or is it one of those that they just popped in because she was with a fun little girl? Or what is the explanation? I don't know.
I mean, or like that lady's like little babies are with her, right? The nurse?
Yes, they have to be.
They're that's wild.
I love the idea.
And those are not John, Paul, Mary names.
No, I mean, Sarah is pretty common. Sarah, Vincent, but Benzion, I have never in my life heard the name Benzion, whether it's a New Zealand name or not. The fact that all three are the exact names of her stillborn children. So wild.
Oh, gosh, that was a good one. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming. You got me at the end there with the goosebumps. Well done, Britt.
Dear listeners, I know some of you, most of you probably have experienced some loved one from the afterlife give you a sign, whether it's a familiar smell, whether it is white feathers, which I didn't even tell a story about.
No.
Something. I am dying to hear this story. I want to gobble all of them up, and you can send them in to our hotbox. That is
skeletalspodcast@gmail.com. You can also tell these stories into our hotline.
It's a voicemail. Don't worry, you do not have to talk to an actual person. That number is 302-689-DEAD, 302-689-3323. You can also message us over at all of the socials.
Heck yeah, we're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook community. We are also on YouTube. Please go subscribe and like and comment. Also write us a review. If you're at it, you can also slide into the DMs and tell your stories those ways.
If you want to get some haunted merch or Skeletales merch, we have all of that over at skeletalspodcast.etsy.com. Is there anything else, Alissa?
We should just make a checklist. I don't know why we rack our brains every week like this. Oh, there's one more thing.
Yeah.
Hunt you later.
Hunt y'all later. Good night.
Good night.